Ni Sambulavinaka na Turanga ke na Marama. Whakalofalahia to Kim Tolwosi. You are still with PMN Tonga. It's a little after 4 p.m. for us here in Tāmaki Makaurau, Aotearoa. But right now we're going to cross to Wellington. I believe we're crossing to the Beehive in Wellington, where joining us right now is Aotearoa, New Zealand's first Pasifika Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Carmel Sepuloni. Malo soifua and malo e lau malie.
Malo. John, good to talk to you.
Welcome back, Deputy Prime Minister. I guess I'm still getting used to referring to you in your new role as the Deputy Prime Minister. We've had you, of course, in the past with your other portfolios, but gosh, it's been a busy last few weeks. Tell me, what's your week been like?
I don't even know where to start with that. The last few months have been pretty crazy given everything that's gone on since January. And of course, the new role, the floods in Auckland, the cyclones across the country, back down here in Wellington, work to do on the ground. Obviously, some issues with a particular former minister. And so there has been a lot to grapple with over the last few months.
You've had a busy start in your new role. And let's talk about, this new appointment. Tell me how you felt, or what was your immediate reaction when Jacinda, our former Prime Minister, announced it was a bit of a shock resignation.
I found a mixture of things: sadness, relief for her because of the intense pressure that she's endured during her time and the many challenges that she's had to lead us as a country through. Also, actually happy for her that she can go on and do something where the weight of the world isn't necessarily on her shoulders, like it has been leading New Zealand through what have been some difficult times. And yeah, I'm going to miss her. She's been a colleague and a friend for the better part of 15 years. And we came in at the same time, and it's really sad to see her go.
Now, is there something you picked up or learned from her, from someone who was in power for a few years and someone who was, I guess, she was leading a country through some very turbulent times?
Yep, certainly her authenticity. Just she really has led as herself. What you see on TV is Jacinda. That's what she's like. She's got a good sense of humor. She's a real person. She really cares about people. And so she led as herself. And I really take that on board. She was also incredibly decisive as a leader. She wasn't scared to make the hard decisions, including putting New Zealand into lockdown really quickly when the pandemic hit our shores. And some leaders would have stumbled or delayed, but she knew, given what was in front of us, that she had to make decisions quickly, and she wasn't afraid to do that. So those are a few of the things that I've learned from her.
And now you are Deputy Prime Minister, and it's election year. What a time to be a Deputy Prime Minister. Is there a bit of weight you're feeling on your shoulders here? Going forward, we're only a few months away until the October general election.
I've always felt a little bit of weight, to be honest, John. Weight on behalf of our Pacific community that have expectations, on behalf of, my family, on behalf of all those that I've got a responsibility to serve, including my electorate in West Auckland. And so there's just a little bit more now because of the fact that I am till I see to the Prime Minister. There's an expectation that I not only support him, but that I cover for him in certain instances when he's not able to be at things or to do some of the responsibilities that he has. And so, that's new to me. And so a little bit more weight and a few more expectations, but they were always there. Yeah,
it's a incredible honour for me. I've worked in media and I've seen you progress, from one thing to the other. So congratulations on this new appointment. But let's bring it back to where it all began. I understand you're a Waitara person, and tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how that's kind of helped you get to where you are. Because I'm sure a lot of people that you have a Tongan connection. Tell us about Waitara and your Tongan connection.
Yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in Waitara. It's a small town of about 5,000 people, very working class town, and with a very significant history with regards to Aotearoa as well. There weren't many other Pacific people in that town growing up. It was very Pākehā Māori. But my dad had come over from Samoa in 1964. Dad's Samoan side is from Wailele, which was his mother. His father was actually originally from Niuatapu, from Tonga, but they had raised their family in Samoa. So my dad is equally weighted Samoan and Tongan, but he grew up in Samoa. And so I'm proud of both, John. I also acknowledge my Pākehā side. One of the things that I've tried to really highlight is that many New Zealanders have mixed heritage, and it's something to celebrate and also acknowledge. And I think by celebrating and acknowledging that, we can also be a little bit more unifying with regards to our discussions around race relations, which at times have been a little bit tense. And I think it's important that we do that.
Oh, yeah. I understand that with your Pākehā grandparents, they were very staunch national supporters. How does one, grow up in a household like that, and then why Labour? And how did you start making your way into politics?
Yeah, so they were national voters, and Dad was a union member and delegate and a Labour voting man. So we just got to see both sides.
Oh, yeah.
I think if anything, what I learnt is, people may be National Party farming voters. That doesn't necessarily mean that 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 they can be as good a people as the people that are on the left. And so I think, I just think that it helps to address some of the divisions when you've seen both sides and you've actually felt love as a child from both sides. And so that's my experience.
Now, what's your plan? Obviously, going into this election time in October. What's your message for our community? What do you bring as the Deputy Prime Minister, but still the Labour candidate for Kelston?
Look, my message to our community is to reflect on the track records of the political parties. From the time that our grandparents, our parents migrated to this country, who have implemented the policies that have supported our Pacific communities and our Pacific families. I think that the track record speaks in favour of Labour, and I think it's important that it is that track record that our communities vote on. I think there's a lot at stake for our communities at this election, and we don't want to see the progress that's been made for our Pacific community take steps backwards. And so I'm going to be, with my political candidate hat on, pushing hard into our communities to try and garner that support that we know has traditionally been there, but we never take for granted.
And just before we say goodbye, I understand you will be leading a delegation to the Pacific and the Solomon Islands.
Yes. So we will be going on a Pacific mission to the Solomon Islands, Tonga and Fiji. I'll be taking a delegation of not only media, but representatives from our Pacific community who come from business, health, education, some young people on there. And so really looking forward to being able to engage with those three really important partners across the Pacific. Are you coming, John?
Oh, I will be there in spirit. The real reporters will come. I will be cheering you on. But we can't wait to have you again on our Polokalama as a proud Tongan. Malo aupito ngāue, malo le ngālue. And we wish you the very best with your upcoming trip, and of course with your many appointments and your many commitments for the rest of the week. We're very grateful to have you on our Polokalama, Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Carmel Sepuloni. Malo aupito.
Malo, Pito. Thank you, John. Thank you for all you